Today I'm sharing the newly open source LTX2.0 video generation model. This is a complete model. Furthermore, I've included its model and LoRa here, all downloaded and deployed. The first one is Wuyangfeng video. This is the official default workflow. There's not much to say, it's just the Wuyangfeng video. It supports both Chinese and English. It also supports generating Chinese speech. A video generation model for audio-visual synchronization. On the left is a low-memory video memory. The generation speed will be faster. For example, generating 8 seconds only requires 2 minutes. The generation speed is twice as fast as the original one. If it takes 20 seconds to generate here, it will take 5 minutes. If it takes 8 seconds to generate, it will take 2 minutes. If a 20-second time period is generated that's equivalent to only 2.5 minutes. This is also a video by Wuyangfeng. Below is a raw video. Input the same image. Then the prompt, word. The generated effect is not bad. You're so sour. What do you want to eat today? Well enough. This side is. Video generation from the first and last frame. The effect was okay. It's great. You're so sexy. Let's exercise together. However, its raw video quality is actually slightly lacking. Wuyangfeng's videos are still better. The following is a video reference controlled by CN. Generate by referring to his depth map. LoRa is also used when referencing depth maps, using depth map LoRa. It will then completely reference this depth map. Shape generation. The generated effect is okay. Below is a reference to his movements. I will refer to his depth map. This way you can change clothes and things like that. The generated effect is not bad. Let me introduce myself first. I use the online mirror of InBrain Cloud. Users prefer to deploy locally and use it immediately. Then click on My Mirror. Update to the latest version. This is the one I'm using now. I've put this workflow here. LTX2.0 raw image. Wait. This is where you open the whole set. Of course, I have more than just this. There are other latest ones. The complete set of raw photos of QWEN.51 and the entire image suite is also These are the new and most commonly used workflows. Then it's further divided into video categories, some commonly used workflows. Also, all previous workflows for image processing. There are probably hundreds of them here. Currently, it may be suitable for use in learning. There is also voice generation music, or generate speech or extract human voice, or a single sentence sound clone. Or it can be a sound voice changer, voice cloning service. All the commonly used ones are here. If you want to deploy locally, you can click on My Notes. Open the ComfyUI tutorial in the navigation bar. It will then jump to the bottom of the workflow. Like mirror images, they are divided This workflow is placed in the first LTX section of the video class. The name is exactly the same as the one in the mirror, exactly the same as the workflow name. The installation tutorial is inside. Download links for all the models used inside. There are also simple screenshots to illustrate. Then the placement location. All models have. There are also some other nodes that are used. This is suitable for people who want to deploy locally to try it out. Then below is the workflow. Complete workflow screenshot. Each screenshot can be maximized by clicking on it. The values above are all clearly visible. This makes it convenient sometimes when we don't want to. You can directly view the images by opening the file. You can then see the parameters above. No need to open it. You can see all the parameters directly on this page. Then at the very bottom is the workflow downloader. This is suitable for people who want to deploy locally. Each of my workflows has a corresponding node. So it's quite convenient. Moreover, you can replicate all my workflows with one click. Furthermore, the mirror can install nodes itself. Each workflow includes video tutorials and nodes. Learn and apply immediately, or learn and apply simultaneously to master it in one go. ComfyUI Mirror has these advantages. All models can be freely combined. More suitable for professional designers. Okay, now let me explain the usage method in detail. First, there's the default official Wuyangfeng video. I won't go into that point. Because they are all officially defaulted, I have written down the functions here. For example, this is setting the size. Then this is for setting the total number of frames. If you don't understand the settings, you can see the image on the left. I've marked this above. For example, how do I set this frame rate? 25 frames per second. Then you need to add 1 at the end. For example, 8 seconds is 200 frames. Adding makes it 201. This way, it can only generate a maximum of 20 seconds. So this depends on the settings you need to configure. This is the size setting. Size settings are all available here. 25 frames per second is also available. For example, these two should be consistent. If you don't understand, look at the annotations. I won't add any annotations here. Just add one. This is a duration setting. This is the frame rate. Both of these need to be set to the same 25 frames per second. I won't go into those details. This is the LoRa of the model. LoRa has moved to the left. These two should ideally be consistent. Its LoRa is placed here. The camera can move up, down, left, and right, and all control over C and. For example, motion control or depth map control, or liner control. Everything has already been deployed. Then what needs to be done here is, all Wuyangfeng video needs to do is set the dimensions, set the total duration, and then fill in the prompt words. The default wildcard prompt is fine, both the 25 frames per second. Therefore, all three parts must be consistent at 25 frames. If it's 24 frames per second, then you need to change all three. The default settings are usually fine. You need to change the size, duration, and prompts. Finally, you can directly generate it. Ultimately, this will be magnified again through this magnification model. Then sample the output. This setting is the official default setting. How exactly to use it is still unknown, so just leave it as default. This will produce a more perfect video effect. However, one problem is that sometimes it includes subtitles. You need to draw cards. Its advantage is that it supports audio-visual synchronization. It can generate speech or music. You can write dialogue here. You can use either Chinese or English. The second one is a lower spec version. The generation speed is twice as fast as that one. It takes 20 seconds to generate here. The 5 minutes takes 2.5 minutes here. The setup method is the same. This is just a prompt word. It just added this additional prompt word expansion. It uses the 1000 questions model. Let it expand on this passage to make it more professional. In the end, it turned into this pile of words. There are no other differences. It involves setting the size and duration, both the 25 frames per second. Final output. Because the clue words are quite complex, so the generated result is alright, right, Let's take a look. The more complex the prompt words, the more sometimes ... It might not achieve the effect. A strange video pieced together from scratch. Therefore, using the previous Wuyangfeng video would yield better results. Below is a raw video. The above are all the same. This one is the same. Allows you to choose your own length. Left, right, or upper or fine. Ideally, the two should be consistent. It's just that this part has been changed too. Instead of providing a size, input an image. Then set the size. And here is the total duration for seconds. Then the frame rate is 25 frames per second. Note that this is setting the size again. It's like enlarging the size in front. The longest side is 1280. Therefore, you should pay attention when setting this size, the final longest edge. This is equivalent to enlarging the previous size to 1280. So pay attention to this small detail, especially the size. Write the prompts as well as the rest. Write down one line or dialogue that he is going to say. Finally, he can generate this effect. The effect is alright, I guess. Image, video. Moreover, the generation speed I forget whether this is the second or 8 seconds. The generation process takes only 2 minutes. Then this section shows the generation of the first and last frames of the Everything video. Else is the same. The only difference is that the previous one added the first and last frame, start frame and end frame. The same size is set here. Then the duration was set. In total duration, both the 25 frames per second. This is important to know regarding their final dimensions. You need to set it up here again. This is the final size. This controls the longest edge of these two graphs. It's best to set these two images to be exactly the same. Otherwise, it would be very strange. The generation is strange because the two images are of different sizes. Then there's a prompt and a line of dialogue. I'm just testing the difference between using English and Chinese. I found that using English is better. Dialogue in English. The generated effects first and last frames. It's alright, but you need to draw cards to get it. It supports up to 4000 resolution. Therefore, this size can be set to between 3800 and 210 pixels. This is its highest pixel count. However, you'll need a decent graphics card for this, so it depends on the situation. My current settings can achieve 20 seconds. There are absolutely no problems with the generation. So just use my default settings. Below is a depth map reference. Video production video. It will strictly reference the outline of this depth map. What generates video? And the music is also preserved. It is music as it originally was. Then, it's important to note that the top and bottom must correspond. This is also a lure of the depth map. There are no other differences. It's just building a video and then resizing it. This is where you set the dimensions. The duration is the same as it, 121 seconds. You can set it up depending on the situation. Then load it through it. This is a depth map. Then you can modify the above. For example, you could change the background to a snowy landscape or something similar. For example, I'm using a depth map here. Go to the reference video. Even if my prompt says wearing yoga pants. However, because its depth map is of a skirt, so it will still be a skirt when it's generated. And sometimes subtitles are generated during the process, so you just need to draw cards multiple times. Therefore, This is based on the depth map. You should modify changing the clothes didn't work. This requires going down to the bottom. For example, I only refer to his movements. That way I can change everything about him. He doesn't necessarily have to wear a skirt. Therefore, you can specify and change her clothes here. This is just a reference to his pose. Then you can modify his clothes and stuff. However, the action music and the music are the same. Therefore, there is a reference action below. The above is a reference step map. This way, you can use it depending on the situation. Use it according to your needs. I will compare it with Wuyangfeng. You'll know once you use it. Its biggest advantage is that it generates quickly. It is said to be 18 times faster. But I don't know who I'm comparing it to. That's all for this episode. Go have fun.